Hi, this is Kirk, the bariatric carnivore. Hey, look, mental health is big business. It's $106 billion. That's how much we spent on the treatment of mental health. But that doesn't include all the cost of bad mental health. Anxiety disorders and depression cost a lot of people sick days, which hurts the economy, which takes out money out of the taxes, crime, etc., that happen because of all this stuff, plus the human cost. I mean, when you have people suffering from anxiety disorders, depression, they don't get to participate fully in life. They don't take care of their kids, etc. So there's this tremendous cost of mental health disorders that have been exploding since the government started pushing low-fat diets. And there's been an absolute explosion in the amount of reported mental health. And it's not just because we're better at recognizing it. We've been talking about it, and it's the stigma has been removed. No. It's exploding. And part of it is I don't think you can escape the conclusion that when you look at the totality of the evidence, that something's happened. We have changed the way we eat. The average American eats about an ounce every day of red meat. That's pathetic. And as that amount of red meat has been decreasing, the rates of mental illness are only getting worse. One of the really most tragic versions of it that I've seen is the explosion in the rates of Alzheimer's disease. Dementia was actually a pretty darn rare disorder throughout most of recorded history. And it wasn't that there was a shortage of old people. There were a lot of old people, and they were mentally clear right up until the very end. Dementia was a pretty rare darn thing. But there's been an explosion of it, which kind of corresponds with our horrible hatred of high cholesterol. And there's been some recent studies where they have taken people that have got Alzheimer's disease and they've taken them off their statins, and they have increased their amount of saturated fat and given them more red meat, and they've seen dramatic improvement. If you've ever been in a memory care system, you'll notice that the people that have dementia, the people with Alzheimer's, often are always trying to get sugar, because their brain gets dysregulated and they need more glucose all the time. That's why they refer to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes. And it's only getting worse. And frankly, I think it all falls at the feet of our horrible standard American diet of ultra-processed food and heavy reliance on carbs. And what is, I think, the most fascinating thing that has come out really of late in a lot of research is this dramatic link that they're starting to see between what is going on in the gut microbiome and the brain. It's not ready for prime time yet. This isn't like I can show you a study that says, boy, if you eat more of this and it's going to do this to your microbiome. The microbiome is an incredibly complex system relying on trillions of bacteria. And basically you are a transporter of 23 pounds of bacteria in your gut microbiome that affects so much of your body and your brain health. It is a remarkable system, and it's when you inflame your guts. And one way you can really inflame your guts is by eating lots of plants. I mean, I hate to tell you this, if you're a vegan and you think you're getting healthy eating a bunch of plants, really you're doing is inflaming your overall microbiome. You're not getting much nutrients from the plants, because if you're eating raw vegetables, much of those nutrients are bound up in the fiber. You can't get it out. The fiber is just making your guts raw, and it's inflaming your bowels. And when you inflame your bowels, you get anxiety and depression. There was a really good study that popped up back in 2017 that kind of showed that link between the inflammation in the bowels and the gut microbiome. and anxiety and depression. We've been knowing about this for quite a while, but why aren't we doing anything about it? Well, for a couple of reasons. Number one is academia. The higher levels of academia and stuff like that, they don't want to hear about it because they buy into this whole notion that cholesterol is bad, cholesterol will kill you, red meat will cause you to have a heart attack and you're going to die. And as a result, they don't study it. And they're the gatekeepers. They're the ones who are keeping a lot of these studies from being done because you can't get peer review and you can't get approval for the studies. And I find that absolutely incredible that we as a species have been eating meat since as long as we've been human. That is what really makes us human, because the reason why we're not like other primates, when you look at chimps and you look at apes, our closest living ancestors, they've got long guts. They're fermenters. They spend 20 hours or more a day eating vegetable matter, fermenting it, farting all over the place. And they have a very slow-moving bowel system designed to mimic like inefficient cows and trying to get every bit of nutrient out of the plant materials. Our system is much shorter. We can put more energy into growing our brains because we don't have to spend a lot of energy digesting food, and we don't have to spend 20 hours a day eating like our primate ancestors. We're not apes. Humans, Homo sapiens are a very unique species with a very different gut and a very different brain, and it all came down to food. And to sit there and to say that eating something that our ancestors were created doing is somehow dangerous now at the end in the 21st century is absolute idiocy. But that's what unfortunately passes for academic rigor nowadays. And the other reason why you're not hearing much about it is, frankly, there's no money in it. And as a result, there's no interest from government, because most of what funds our government institutions, like all the different agencies that deal with this stuff, they get their money from big pharma as far as fees are concerned. That's what is their budget, not the tax dollars. I mean, really, frankly, it should be the government that should be funding these type of studies that are showing what foods actually make up good medicine. But unfortunately, there's so much regulatory capture that they're not doing those studies. There's a ghastly psychopathic system because there's no money in it. There's no money in trying to figure out what type of diet gives you the best mental health advantage. When you take somebody off an Alzheimer's drug and you take them off their statin, Big Pharma loses money. And they don't want that. And they they're not funding that science. That's number one. Number two, they're really working kind of quietly to help suppress this type of knowledge. And it is beyond frustrating, and it is causing tremendous damage to many people. I mean, I've seen, my mom has got dementia. I've seen mental health disorders. And frankly, when I grew up, I was always told that, your brain, once you hit a certain age, that's it. Your brain is set and it never improves. And that's not true. We've seen that the brain heals and changes itself. And it's a very plastic thing that is always able to improve itself. And you can improve your overall brain health with diet. So take a look at, and if you want to study this stuff more in depth, I really recommend Dr. Georgia Eads' books, and, look for her lectures on YouTube. She is a brilliant psychiatrist that really explains extremely well the link between the gut health, your brain health, your diet, your mood, everything that's important, who you are. really boils down to what you eat. And it is a link that is being ignored because, frankly, the whole medical system is completely psychopathic. They don't care about you. They don't care about your mental health. They don't care about your physical health. They're not paid to take care of that type of stuff. If you want to fix it, you've got to fix it yourself. Frankly, in this fight for our health, we are all alone. But we can all be alone in this together. And I really hope that you will join this tribe, join with others that are really looking at this thing from a whole new perspective, to realize that we have the power to control our own health through our own diet. When you start putting together the proper pillars of health, when you change your diet, when you start incorporating exercise and you start getting better sleep, your mental health is also going to improve pretty dramatically. And frankly, it is difficult. When you've been on, keep in mind, when you've been taking antidepressants for an extended period of time, those things were only tested for like 6 months. And they do provide some benefit for some people. But I was taking antidepressants for nearly a decade. There's effects on that. And it's difficult to get over those things. When you've been taking them longer than they've been studied, there's going to be downstream effects. It is what it is. So, this is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. Look, I would greatly appreciate it if you have noticed a great improvement in your overall mood, if it has taken away some of your anxiety, if it has improved your depression, if you feel a great deal of much more mental clarity, please put a note down below. Give some encouragement to people that may have stumbled upon this video and go, really, has other people had this type of situation? Let them know that it does affect your overall mental health. I've noticed a significant reduction in my anxiety. I don't have the same bouts of depression that I used to have, and nothing but good has come from it. And as your brain gets healthier, as your body gets healthier, your brain's going to get healthier, because they're all one and the same. Your brain ain't separate. Your brain is part of your body, and your health is going to affect your brain's health. I try to put out a couple messages each week. I will talk to you again soon. Thanks.